Constellation training 2018-19, 6 weekends, Sunday, February 3rd, afternoon session 1.
Okay. So, how are people after lunch?
Let's sleepy.
Ready to take a nap?
You got a little over 3 hours to go. We can do it. It's like a long Scandinavian movie, right?
Scandinavia.
Well, I'm just thinking Ingmar Bergman, that kind of movie, right?
Gone with the Wind.
Dr. Zhivago.
Dr. Zhivago and Gone with the Wind, they were both over 3 hours.
Gone with the Wind is over 3 hours?
Yeah.
How did Americans ever let us get away with that? Okay. Any leftover questions or anything from this morning?
Okay.
Okay. So this is wide open. I just suggested something that you might do. There's also just kind of in a standard way facilitating some constellations. I want to hear from you. And then there's like a third option, which is something else. I could facilitate, I could give us some exercises, some more small things. Check in. What do you want to make sure you do before we go today? And we will do something, in the last hour, 45 minutes that I have planned.
What do we want to do?
I mean, just a simple sense. Do you want to facilitate? Do you want to have a constellation facilitated? Would you like to do some exercises? Would you like to take me up on that offer of doing a creative constellation on behalf of the class, et cetera, et cetera?
So I'm going back and forth on something that's on my mind. I'm just not entirely clear if it's a constellationable issue.
Talk a little bit.
It's the issue is my relationship maybe to my kids. It revolves around education. My take on it versus, and so currently my daughter wants to change schools. The fact is she needs to catch up on academics because until now, I let them decide what they want to learn and when they want to learn. So she didn't follow the normal school education. It's like when you're in 8th grade, you're supposed to know that and that. So right now she decided she wants to move over to a school that has more academic training. So she needs to catch up from now until the school year starts in September. And she asked me to facilitate that and tutor that. And I'm in a situation where I feel I can do it. I've done stuff like this before. I'm not sure if it's a good thing to do if I do it. Maybe the other option is to hire a trainer, which would free up my time maybe to do the advanced constellation training. So there's not clarity about the right move. If I check in with myself, how do I feel about hiring a tutor for her? There's a part of me that says, yeah, probably would be a good idea because it's also good for her to step up a little bit in there, exposing her to some stranger, getting out of this. Am I overprotecting them? Is the question in the back of my mind. And on the other hand,
or are you pushing her too hard?
Yes. Yeah. On the other hand, I really love tutoring and teaching kids. That would have been my choice profession if it had worked out that way. So her asking me to do this doesn't feel like an obligation from that end. If it would feel, probably the whole situation would be clear. I would say no and would hire someone. But so there's
And I assume part of this is that her father has an opinion on this as well.
Yes. So up till recently, her father left everything that runs around education of kids to me. He is no friend of public school systems, so he always agreed with trying different alternative ways of having them taught. Right now, he seconds her, it was my daughter's choice or our daughter's choice, to wanting to do academic training. He thinks that's a great idea. And he is willing to listen to her or see what is available. He would prefer her going to a school in his neighborhood.
But what about the short-term thing? Does he have an opinion about that?
No.
So hiring a tutor or you doing it would be fine by
Yeah.
him? Okay. Yes, this is constellatable. I mean, I'm sure both of you are getting pictures of what you might include here. It's not a solve a problem constellation. It's a wanting to understand the situation better constellation so that you can make the best decision possible when the time comes.
Yeah.
It's not a problem to fix. It's something you want.
More clarity, more insight.
It's like, in some sense, if you're doing research on something, amongst all the other steps you might do, you also might do a constellation on the thing before you make a decision, sort of thing. Like if you're trying to choose which grad school, yes, you should do research on all the grad schools, but you also might want to do a constellation. And then all of a sudden it'll come out, oh my God, I'm more scared of going into debt than I thought. I think maybe I should reconsider the state school or something like that, right? Okay, so that's constellatable. So that's in the realm of somebody doing a piece of work for you. Okay? In which case you would put yourself in their hands. You wouldn't design. I mean, so one option, actually this is interesting. I'm about to correct myself. This is something you could constellate on your own at home with cards, right? So theoretically, we could do a hybrid in which you lead the process, but instead of you stepping in and out of cards, you use us. So in a sense, you could, because this, I think I've said this before, my own generalization around constellating for yourself is that you can do a perfectly good job at the part of the constellation where you, by the way, are you recording?
Yeah.
Where you're just trying to understand the situation, right? But the point where you have to start applying a resolution, we're not very good at doing this for ourselves. We start falling into our hidden agenda about how we want it to turn out, right? But since it's really more the former and not so much the latter. Now, if you think, you know what, I feel like there's a way I want this to go, and I want to be able to put that aside and really get clean information, then you might ask somebody else to facilitate for you.
Yeah, I think it would, I have agendas, I have issues, because I have a very strong emotional reaction to the existing school system that is more than just, I don't like it. There's a lot more behind that. So
I'm sorry, part of it is that you have mixed feelings about your daughter going into it at all.
Yeah, in a sense, I'm very protective.
Okay. Yeah, so whatever you want. So that's looking like a constellation facilitated by somebody else. Anything else, put that aside. Something else you're wanting around your own practice, something you'd like us to do together, questions you still have.
Well, I don't know, might all tie together or might not. I'm going back and forth on doing the advanced training or not.
Mm-hmm.
I know an argument in my head is too that because I already signed up for the West Coast Intensive, and that's also in March, and it's a whole weekend plus work days.
Right.
To do this twice
So
in 1
3.
month is
It's true.
It's not
true.
possible. So I would have to choose: am I going to do the intensive, or am I going to cancel that and sign up for the advanced training?
Okay.
And so that's because the next second advanced training weekend is in a different month, and that once a month I can wing it to take, organize getting the kids somewhere and to school and being away from all my clients for 2 full days and not available.
Yeah.
So
Even though they're on the ends of March, like one's the first weekend of March and one's the last weekend of March, that's still.
I work 7 days a week. So taking 4
Yeah.
full days off, because weekend is for me work days as well. If it's not the kids or the household or my volunteering positions, it's my clients. So,
Yeah.
so not being available to any of this for 4 full days is the max I can do per month right now.
Okay. So
that's another topic going on.
So-
Contemplating.
Okay, so it'd probably be either or on those topics to constellate. How about anything other than stuff you want to constellate for yourself?
Anything other than...
So I've been asking, is there practice you want to do? Is there something you want to facilitate? Is there a topic you want us to look at? I'm not mining for more issues here, actually. The offer to do a creative facilitation exercise, facilitate for someone else, et cetera, et cetera. Anything you're wanting?
Not in particular. I'm open to facilitating for someone else if that turns out to be the best scenario.
Does the idea of creating an exercise for all of us, I'm going to move us along through this a little bit. Does that interest you at all?
Yeah, exercise is fine too. I'm quite open to.
Are you interested, I want to be really clear that we're actually communicating in creating an exercise for us to do.
Or me creating an exercise?
Yeah, I've said that 3 or 4 times. Sorry.
No, I was thinking you said I'm creating an exercise.
Yeah.
I would have to have more time to look into this. If you throw this at me, I say out of my hands, I wouldn't know what to create as an exercise. So I'm open to it. I'm not saying I don't do it, but I wouldn't really know right away where to start this and how to start this.
Right. So I'll just reiterate. The starting place would be something you're interested in looking at through a constellation lens that you would like to lead a constellation on with the group. It could be a social issues constellation. It could be just, I have a lot of interest in the question of money. Let's set up, each one of us do a little dyad with money. So that would be the starting place. Something that you're already sort of natively interested in, organically interested in, that you might like to create a constellation exercise on. Okay? How about you, Maria Elena?
Actually, I have an inquiry, and I don't know if it will fit to do an exercise.
Right.
For it, I used to be able to have out-of-body experiences, and I don't have that anymore. And I would like to know if that's comfortable. I mean, if I could.
What's the question, though?
How can I tap into that realm again, if it's possible? I mean, if it is possible to constellate.
Well, sure. Anything is constellatable. You bet.
But also, I mean, I don't know if the group is, interested in something like that, which is very unusual.
Right. And you've been pretty constellated this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to be able to
facilitate. Yeah, see, this is what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I want to hear, I'm going to say it again. I am not just mining you for things you want to constellate for yourself. We've got 3 hours left. I'm really asking, what do you guys want to make use of in your time in the last few hours, generally?
Yeah.
Okay? So you want to facilitate, are you interested in the creating a constellation exercise for the group?
In that topic that I just said.
Oh, on that topic. So for all of us to look at that.
Yeah.
about looking at out-of-body experiences.
Experience.
You'd have to figure out how to set that up.
Yeah.
Because for other people in the room, they might like not have any interest in out-of-body experiences.
That's why I said
Yeah.
that. I don't know if the if the group is interested.
So you need to
But
find.
anyways, I would like to be able to facilitate.
Right. Got it. Okay. Yeah, when it comes to exercises, generally speaking, what you're doing is finding something that theoretically everybody would be interested in exploring. Most people are interested in looking at their relationship with money. Not always,
Tangible. Tangible.
or them and their health, or stuff like that. But okay. And you, Jeff. Sorry, the room's gone all foggy for some reason.
I'm happy with whatever we do.
Okay. You should facilitate one more time. Both of you should facilitate one more time, because you got to do some facilitating yesterday. So I'm going to make this simple. Let's just start out here. I think you should facilitate for Katarina that issue with her daughter, and whether, this spring and summer, she, am I going to tutor her, or am I going to find someone else? Yeah. And one of the things I think about this, she did say something about how, I don't want to facilitate this myself because I have reactions about the school system. Having said that, I wouldn't even go into that. Yeah. Because the question is whether to tutor her daughter or get another tutor. And to kind of make that the clean question, rather than there are tentacles of other issues connected to this, that if you go down, it's going to get more complicated. So kind of keep it in the box of, do I get a tutor for my daughter, or do I tutor her myself this summer, until she goes to school? Does that make sense to both of you guys? Does that work for you?
Yeah, and actually, the first thing that came to mind when you explained that, it was to bring your daughter into the Constellation.
Come on up here and do what you want to do. And if you need any more information or whatever. Right. Remember to take your time. Make sure you've got a little bit of a sense of what you're up to, just so that you don't, sort of get in there and then it's just kind of a little vague. Put your own gas mask on first.
So I'm just gonna breathe for a little bit, and I'm going to ask my ancestors and my lineage, and everybody here, everybody's lineage, to help us with this constellation.
Hi.
How are you? So would you explain to me a little bit more about the conflict that you're having of either tutoring your daughter yourself or looking for somebody else? Why is it?
So there are different aspects to it. One is I really like tutoring, so being asked to do this feels like something nice to do
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm thinking of what I would say what is the best option for her.
For your daughter?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then my sense of what's right and wrong or what is the best thing to do is not clear. I don't know, I can't tell if it's actually a good idea, a good option for her if I tutor her. No, there's a thought in my head that thinks maybe because it's also based on her reaction. She said, "Oh, I don't want any stranger to teach me. You know, I feel like maybe I don't know enough, and then I feel embarrassed." So there's a reluctance even for her wanting to engage with someone,
Mm.
and I feel like maybe it's for me the better action, better in a sense of taking care of her, is to push her a little bit out there and say, you know what, it's actually good if you find a nice tutor, like someone that works for you, but someone else teaching you. So the secondary level of this whole would be money a bit, hiring a tutor costs money, not hiring if I do it myself would cost my time.
Hmm.
So it's a bit the whole. Usually in my life, I have a quite clear inner sense of what I need to be doing, and I trust that, So in that scenario, it's money. It's
Mm.
I don't get a clean yes or no on should I tutor her or should I hire her. Yeah.
Have you made the inquiries about how much a tutor will cost? And how much would you lose in gaining in
No.
wages?
No, I haven't yet because ultimately the whole money situation is secondary in
Okay.
my motivation. I know her best friend just went through the whole procedure. She dropped out of the school and got a tutor because she wanted to change school, and it sounded pretty affordable. So I'm not too concerned about
Okay.
it being too expensive, because it wouldn't be a tutor that comes in daily. It's someone who comes in like once a week.
And another question comes to my mind in terms of her feeling not very comfortable about getting somebody else to tutor her because she might feel a little bit uncomfortable not knowing maybe or
Yeah, she has pretty big issue. She thinks when she starts the class, she should already know everything. She has an issue with being in a spot of feeling like she actually doesn't know much and needs to learn. And she's aware of that. She knows it's kind of silly, but because you take classes to learn something. And but it always moves her out of her comfort zone.
so she wants you to tutor because it
because
will be
I have a good relationship with her, and the two of us have an easy time talking and being with each other. So that's for sure. It feels like right now more comfortable to her. I'm just not sure if that will stay that way when we actually end up teaching. Because I know from experience, I homeschooled 2 kids for 2 years. I know from experience, it's quite a different situation, hanging out with each other or being teacher and student.
so what it comes to mind is just to bring in your daughter just to experience what's the feeling for her, and then For some reason, I would like to bring somebody else as a tutor, not you, for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the easy thing you can do is that since the choice is her or a tutor at this point, is that when you're ready, you can bring Katerina in as the other one. So, okay.
So, we like to choose somebody for.
Are you available?
Sure. I think I have to be. I think we're down to it here.
More rhetoric question.
I think we're down to it, unless we're like hiring those guys in the conference room.
I should go over there and be like, oh, want to come over?
This will be, yeah,
Have some
Would
fun.
you like- would you like to have a new experience?
Can you be the tutor? Okay, my God, tutor. Wherever you want to start. And my daughter.
Daughter, what are you feeling? What's you feel? I mean, you seem like you're happy.
I am. I have to share a little bit of process because I think it's actually turns out to be relevant. As you were interviewing, I was sitting there, I sort of figured this is what would happen, but that you were going to have her come in and there would be three of us. And I had a picture of going straight to my mother, but looking at the tutor with interest. But that's not what you set up. My mother isn't an option here. It's not even on the table. And I think this one's the bee's knees. I really like this one. And there's something I'm really grateful about not having gotten a choice about it. Because if I'd gotten a choice, I think I would have gravitated to my mother kind of automatically as kind of a safe spot, an automatic safe spot. But without that as an option, it leaves me free to go, I really like him. And it kind of surprises me. But I really like him. And I'm sitting here going, no, he likes me.
That sounds very familiar.
Mr. Tutor, how do you feel?
Or Mrs. Tudor, we don't
Or
know.
Mrs. Tudor, you're right. You're right.
We don't know.
How are you feeling? You're not looking at your student.
Thank you. I don't have a strong reaction one way or the other. It's what I do. I mean, it's fine. It's nice. I'm sure I feel confident that it'll work out fine. But not much beyond that. I think we would have a good relationship.
I loved his sentence of, this is what I do. There's something about that I really liked.
I get reassurance.
And it's not about whether it would be nice to have us hit it off at the chemistry level, but it's like, it's not about that. It's what he does. And presumably he likes doing it and is good at doing it. And if that's on the table, I'm having a good time. Sorry, I'm feeling really eighth gradery right now.
No music during the tutoring.
Okay.
No cell phones. No Instagram.
Yeah, even that kind of all of that kind of that performance of tutoring and the rules and whatever goes into that, I'm like, I'm in, and I'll play my, every once in a while I'll rebel a little bit, and and you know that, and I know that, and I kind of, it feels like an adventure somehow. It feels new and unexpectedly enjoyable. I really like his shirt. I don't know why, but right now, that shirt is just like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just having a thing about his shirt right now.
Gotta look forward to with a shirt like that.
It's your junior shirt. That's what it feels like.
It's interesting. Because I think that the brand name that's on the shirt is a company who mostly makes horseback riding.
Oh yeah, it's totally horse stuff.
Yeah, and my daughter is an avid horseback rider.
Oh, she
What?
is.
She rides horses.
So this
Oh,
is
really?
a horseback riding
Oh, I
company.
see.
I knew that too because I'm a horse person myself. So
That's why you like his shirt so much.
well, I was checking that, but no, the roll does.
I know.
The roll really
And
likes
she rides
it.
horses now.
I was talking to
Yeah. But I was wondering because I was aware of the brand.
Are you riding too? Fudo?
The shirt is good, and the color's good, and the little piping. It's just a great shirt.
Saw it online. I bought one. Yeah, it fits good. Okay, so I'll buy some more.
There you go.
That's also funny because she's actually very into clothes and designs, and she always notices when somebody's wearing something or what they're
That
wearing.
fits them, yeah.
And is very, very conscious about fashion.
So it's very much your daughter.
Yes.
I'm also noticing like he's got this little leather patch right here on his jeans. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Most jeans don't have this
No.
thing, and he's got the hammer thing. That's awesome.
Oh, it's not actually leather, but it's a simulated leather.
You just disappointed me.
Put leather on a pair of jeans, you have to wash a lot.
Yeah, we trouble. That's true. That's true. Yeah. So anyway.
Any reactions to this?
Yeah.
It's funny how I recognize this is very authentic. Very authentic display.
I'm sorry, I have to take this one level further.
Yeah.
This yellow is the same as this
Oh,
yellow.
wow.
It's the same as this tiny little stitching yellow on the corners of his pocket.
Exactly her.
Oh, wow.
She really knows when somebody wears socks that don't match the rest of the outfit, and she thinks it's absolutely horrible.
The yellow is like, it's screaming at me.
Yeah.
The little pipe at the ends of the corners of the pocket. What, batten stitching, is that what you call it when you reinforce a corner?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know this. I don't know.
Buttonhole.
I've noticed that in a million years.
No, Leslie would never have seen that either. This is all roll. I'm like Jeff's dressed. That's about as far as Leslie gets in life, right?
No, for her it has a lot more detail to it.
And I did notice Ariat before yesterday. You were wearing an Ariat yesterday, so I noticed it. But other than that, that's all I would notice.
Just
I'm having a good time. Feels relaxed. It feels like we can have fun. We can do work. Yeah. And as I do that, I'm sort of trusting my mom to, like, if someone comes in and is not a good fit for me, doesn't hear me well, is, too rigid or not rigid enough or whatever, that she'll take care of that. Like, she won't just stick me with somebody and make me endure it if they're really not a good fit for me. So that's something I trust in our relationship and her care for me. Yeah.
No, I think it's
So true. That's so true. I don't like to ask you if you need to really sleep. Just absolutely you can feel it. What's going on here?
Okay. I'm like, Mom, go away. It's such a surprise. This would have been a very different constellation if we had started out with all three of us. But I'm like, oh, Mom, go away.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. Even though part of me is like, yeah, but that's what I want. I want this. That's why I didn't walk through there. No. This needs to work, so this is good.
And again, I'm very aware, like mine. If I'd had a choice, it would have been
Immediately, yeah.
it would have been right here.
Have it.
But now that I've determined this feels good, I'm like, Mom, scram, go to an advanced constellation training.
Really? Let me do my thing, yo.
Yeah. A kind of some appropriate separation going on.
Good.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, good.
Hearing your daughter.
Yes. That's what I actually want her to tell me.
This may not what actually gets said.
No,
It may be,
no.
Mom, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, no,
So,
I know, but I care more about underneath.
Yeah.
Because then I deep down know she's a very courageous person, actually, but she has a hard time sometimes seeing. Has a hard time seeing that right away, you know? Because every time I put, with her permission, put her in a situation where she was confronted with someone new, a class or something, she loved it. She just loved it. Good.
it's really nice to hear your trust in my courageousness. That's really nice.
Oh yeah, I think she's a brilliant, smart, beautiful woman.
And that's your
Absolutely. Jaw dropping when I see her. And then I'm always like, I get a little sad when she talks. She doesn't believe herself much. That's what she says at least, you know.
You know, it's interesting. As you say that, I feel like that's a test.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it's like to go, no, Mom, I'm not good, or whatever.
And she wants to heal.
I need some reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a test.
What is coming back as a response to that? You know, no, yeah, you're not good, or no, you're brilliant.
Yeah. And I don't want to have a false like if there's something I don't know how to do well or is hard, I don't want to be told that I'm good at it. But that it feels like a very 8th grade appropriate asking for a little extra reassurance on that. Like, I don't actually believe the story that I'm not okay. That's not why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I'm just needing a little reassurance.
Yes. Make sure.
And so it can get fully internalized. It's at 8th grade, it's not totally internalized yet.
No.
A couple more years. Yeah. But you can go in. You know, I'm kidding. Not when and immediately did that. I said, not too far.
Stay in reach.
Totally. Yeah. But I do like the idea that this person and I get freedom to create this without you having to
monitor it
or make it happen a certain way or anything.
Yeah. And actually, you know, I wanted to ask you if you could find a phrase to tell your daughter, reassuring her, not only her intellect and her capacity, but also that you trust this relationship with the tutor, and she can do this.
Yeah.
If you can.
I trust that you will have and can have a good and creative relationship with your tutor.
Can you say to your daughter, you're very capable?
Yeah, you're very capable.
And I will be here.
Yeah.
Not in the middle, but I will be here.
And I will be here if you need support.
And what I like in terms of the authority of your position is knowing, hearing from you, I'll make sure we find you the right one. Because she can't do that,
No.
right? And I won't stick you with the wrong one.
No.
And then I'll go away. Or I'll leave you to it or something like that. So that's the place of like, I know that only mom can arrange for the right person. And mom can arrange for the wrong person too. Parents can do that all the time.
Yes.
So that's only the one thing I like about leaving their hands. Like the business relationship is between you two.
Yes.
Right? He doesn't snap to my job, he snaps to your job. Oh, I like that. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I respect that.
So, daughter, how do you feel when to hear your mom saying what she said to you?
It's fine. It's a little wah wah wah.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Oh, sorry, that's from the Peanuts. It's just it's fine. I'm focused here now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never say too many words. She tells me, she said, I know, stop talking. You said that all. You said that like 10 times to me.
There's a really nice, an excitement here. Leslie had a friend who was actually a really interesting youth tutor who brought a really wonderful creative approach to helping young people learn and love learning. And in the role, I'm getting excited by this person's love of learning and teaching and how their creative approach to that well suited to me and my sort of out of the boxness that my mother slightly arranged for, given my childhood education exposure, that I can actually have a new experience of passionately love learning in a way that's really caring for me. And I feel like I can have that with this person and not anybody else because this person is going to be unique and bring a unique approach to that.
Your dress is cool.
What?
Your dress is cool.
Good. Feels good to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Great.
Say hi, bye.
Yes, sure.
I really fell into place quick.
Not all constellations have to be woe is
Yeah.
me. They can be kind of quick and kind of direct and kind of clarifying. I'm really glad for this constellation to be able to role model a little bit more range of tone that constellations can have. Yeah.
So could you say who you are and the role that you play, please?
And as Jeff and I represented your tutor, your daughter's tutor.
And Leslie and I represented your daughter. First name?
Ilbra.
Ilba?
Ilbra. I-L-B-R-A.
Ilbra. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Elvira?
Okay.
Elvira?
No, Ilbra. Il, like I-L, Il is the Aramaic word for God, and Bra is the Aramaic word for daughter. So Ilbra is the daughter of God. It's her papa's language.
Persian?
No, Assyrian.
Assyrian. Got it. Wow.
Or Aramaic.
Aramaic.
It's the Assyrian is the old version of the modern Aramaic.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Wow, that was fast.
So, as I said once years ago, one of the most powerful constellations I ever received was at an organizational constellation gathering, and the issue that I put out, and there was no interview, I just said this and we launched, was when it comes, and this was a long time ago, I don't have this issue anymore, but at the time, I reach for joy in work and I end up with obligation. So they set up me, joy, obligation, and work. And in about 10 minutes, my head was ringing and everything was different. And I can't tell you exactly what happened. I don't remember the specifics, but it was so beautiful. And it really did change my relationship to work. Something just started changing it took, a year and a half to work, because, you don't just leave a job and all of a sudden everything's different with you and work. But over the course of the next year or two, everything changed with work. So, or a lot, not everything, but a lot changed with work. So these short formats can be stunningly powerful. And again, they can't replace the hour and a half thing you do to deal with childhood abuse and depression and blah, 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 blah. But there is always sometimes those longer constellations can get bogged down. And the client ends up kind of exhausted and overdone. And you wonder a little bit about how much it helped, right? So, and the short ones can be shallow. So both. Yeah. So I just, let's just do a short round of appreciations and for Maria Elena and I wonders, if there is an I wonder. Sure, yeah.
I appreciate how you explore different layers or different levels, of the issue and the choice of the two representatives. I think that was quite unique because it felt like almost everyone would have put mom in there, but to not do this, I think that was quite helpful. To come exactly quickly to what the daughter situation. So I think that was done brilliantly.
Any I wonders
Um,
in terms of facilitating? Constellations, not in terms of the content.
yeah. No, actually no. No.
Okay.
I wonder.
Okay.
Well, as far as appreciation goes, pretty much what Kat said, similar. During the interview, I was wondering, but it came up later, was how would the daughter feel about being tutored by her mother? I mean, would that be a positive experience for her? I think that came up afterwards. So I was wondering at that moment. Possibly because my experience was horrible trying to tutor my kids. Either of them, they just it was horrible.
Well, she alluded to that. Like, I have a great relationship with my daughter, but if I try to tutor them, that could change. You did bring up that.
Yeah. I used to tutor two girls of a friend of mine, and she called me in actually because she tried doing it herself, and that was not a good idea. And so I ended up spending 2 years with the two girls and bringing them to 6th and 7th grade.
My appreciation actually is, so when I was thinking about her issue and how to explore it, my focus was on Katerina, who is the client of the constellation. And I hadn't gotten anywhere with it yet, but I was beginning to think of okay, how would I set up Katerina getting better clarity about her decision here? And the focus would have been Katerina. And I didn't have an answer to that yet. But when you said, I think we should bring in your daughter, I went, of course. Maybe that's a mother's insight, a parent's insight, not so much a mother's insight, but a parent's insight, to say she's in 8th grade. She's trying to figure out what would be best for her daughter. Let's find out from the daughter. Again, I'm not sure I would have figured that out. I would have noticed that. So that's the main thing that I appreciated was the that you really started with a focus on the daughter and trying to find out what she would like. And then trusting that witnessing what her daughter would like would be clarifying for Katerina. I really don't have any wonders. Did I have a question? What was the question? There was a question. Yes. Do you know why you started out with the daughter and the tutor rather than the daughter and the mother or the daughter and the mother and the tutor? Do you know why you started there? Or did you just did it and you don't know why you did it?
When you said that we were going to do this, immediately the daughter came to mind.
Right, so you
She
had
needed
that.
to be there.
So you had that.
Yeah. And then the tutor came right away. It was like I kind of visioned that you were observing this and this would be clarifying to you.
Oh, if it worked or didn't work, you
Yes.
wouldn't even need to bring in the mother.
Yes.
Ah, so you just wanted to test
Yes.
that option.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of because you mentioned, I don't know, maybe this will not be a good idea. But how about if you saw them? You know, I saw.
Right.
That was it.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I just thought it was, and you know, this is why having representatives who can kind of share not too much information, but more, you know, for me to share with you. I had an image in my head, and it turned out to be relevant. That because I had that image in my head, the daughter ended up surprised, at in a sense, being given no option. And being glad for that. You know, there are times you really want people to take options off the table. And there are the times you want more options, right? It depends. And in that case, I was just like, I'm really glad I didn't have a choice about this. And again, in real life, that may not what it sounds like. Just remember.
Oh yeah. No, I know her well enough that she goes to response if I start talking and say, you know what, I think it's the best idea you hired to. Will be immediate response is like, no, you said you're gonna do it. You said you're gonna do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That was funny about the shirt.
Yes,
That was great.
And the little tiny details.
but it's so
And the socks.
so true, man. I have to sometimes, you know, I'm more like you, so I grab a bunch of clothes, just put them on in the morning, and it doesn't matter if I have to go somewhere or just bring the kids to school, and then I stand there and I want to put my shoes on, and my daughter comes out of the room and she looks at me, Mama.
That's great.
You cannot go outside like this.
That's great. Okay, so here's the other thought I was having. So how genuinely interested are you in this out-of-body experience?
Oh, it just came to mind, so it doesn't.
No, I mean, truly, just for yourself. Are you really like, I would like to have more out-of-body experiences again?
That's my thing. I would like to,
You
because
really-
I think I do tap into another realm that is in the subconscious, or whatever you want to call it. That because I don't even remember my dreams now anymore.
Oh.
So I miss.
So you have a
that
sense that you're missing. Yeah.
information that usually you
So
get.
I was thinking, if it's agreeable to the two of you, that maybe Jeff could facilitate that for you. Because Jeff hasn't facilitated this weekend.
Yeah, but Jeff, will you be?
Well, that's what I'm going to ask.
Oh, okay.
And don't worry, always voluntary, always consensual at all times.
No, about the theme.
I
Yeah.
like I personally like the subject. I can relate well.
Yeah. I would think
So
you,
can
and
I-
you talk about expanded consciousness and all that stuff.
Remote viewing and
Yeah. So, but we need to do it. What I'm suggesting here is not the issue as we all live it, but for her.
I'll give it a shot.
She's had more of this in the past. She wants more in the future, and it's an issue. A client could come to you with that issue.
sounds like a fun.
Ready, Jeff? Okay. We're in a funny spot. We're sort of in between. If we do the interview and then take a pee break, does that sound good? Does that work for you, or does that interrupt your process? Or we can take a pee break now.
I think it-
Probably better to do it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a, it's a little early for break, so 10 minutes at most.
Okay.
But I was thinking if we get, we're not going to last all the way.